And we are live. Welcome everyone to this packed August. Hello, Ayush, and welcome
How are
to
you?
this MetaMask Developer Community Call. How are you, Ayush?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? How are
Good. I'm
your
excited.
agents?
How are Med agent going? We should actually start with that, right? How are your OpenClaw and their Mass agent going? That's quite interesting. We have a pack agenda today, so welcome everyone for joining. We're restreaming in different channel. This monthly community call is dedicated to our MetaMask agent wallet, and we are very excited to bring a lot of guests, packed agenda, demos in this short. I think we have around 1 hour, so let's try to keep it on time. So, how are you, Ayush? How has been this months after so many ad hoc live stream and live coding sessions?
I just wish like the TCA bot we should have kept running because the prices went up. So if we would have kept the
There you
TCA
are.
bot we running, like we would have made some good profits, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, we did some good live coding session with the DCA bot with like some pred, even like buying some perps. So I'm excited because I think like this session today is really like the first big event post our general access launch. And for the people here, like MetaMask Agent Wallet is now basically like available to consume for everyone out there, and we have a packed agenda. So what are we actually talking today? So after a quick round of intro, we actually have some kind of preamble agentic landscape with Marco, our AI lead at MetaMask. So we will do a quick fireside chat speaking about different stats and metrics and how we see kind of like the agentic ecosystem moving forward. How is agent trading in general? I think like there are different players in our ecosystem, but most important, there are different ways to trade those days, not through like humans only. And I think like very well, Ayush, right? So I'm excited actually to get and give some space for Marco to share his thought. And yeah, I'm excited about that. And then what are we talking after, Ayush?
I think then we'll have like Zen talking about MetaMask agent wallet, what you can do, the use cases, what are security features we have. It's more of like knowing from inside him, like what were the reactions inside the team and what are the problems we faced and how agent world is now shaped, right? And after that, like we'll have a small demo, like where we'll be showcasing like what how you can get started with the agent wallet and do your like first trade, and hopefully the trading gods are with you and you
With
might
us,
make
huh?
some an agent wallet as well.
Oh yes, I'm excited. I think like by all the demos that we did, maybe 2 times out of maybe five, like we kind of like were debugging live. But I think like this is mostly around how to get started, how to set up your first kind of like agent wallet and do your first kind of trade. Doesn't matter if it's like spot perps or predictions, right? I think depends on what's your kind of like trading experience. And of course, like if you're an advanced trader today, you're listening here, you're definitely it's something that you definitely like should be interested in. And then how and I think like our main session also like post this demo and getting started is our fireside chat with some special guests and partners of the agent wallet. So we will have Kevin joining us from Coinbase and Alessandro from LeFi. As always, I'm always remember to pronounce it correctly. So I'm excited also to have Alessandro on board. And then what? We finish up with some closing remarks, quick roadmap, and how you can get involved. No matter what type of like a trader you are, no matter if you're even like a builder in the space, you're building automation for trading, and you're building this connector for any orchestrator out there. And yeah, anything else I'm missing here, Ayush, that you're excited
I
about?
think also like on like getting involved also, like we are here because of the EAB program, the builders like and the traders who give the feedback on what could be improved in the CLI and what are the new features that we can add, that we can see right now in our post here, right? So
Yes.
like even if like they are facing any issues, how to get involved with us for that also.
Yes, 100%. I think like for context, like we ran basically like a beta testing, like early access program around the MetaMask agent wallet, and a lot of you really were part of this. And I think like we spin up like this Telegram group, these shy office hours at the end. A lot of people were contributing to, not just with feature requests, but everybody was really like building, is still building also specific features and connectors to the agent wallet. And we literally like discover new use case, what people really using, from like, I mean, DCA, from specific like also like DeFi specific application to also like social sentiment and other extra like application that are not just DeFi. And X402, for example, like you're a big advocate of that, Ayusha, and it's very exciting. And I think we will go through some of the use case today. So that's actually like very exciting to see what are the broad implication and where you can use MetaMask agent wallet as a execution layer. Okay, sounds good. So without further ado, let's actually like get Marco on stage before we actually like run the video. That this is kind of like the main highlight of the slide. Let's invite Marco on stage. So we have this quick fireside chat because we really want to understand what's the state of agentic AI landscape today. And Marco, it's a pleasure to have you here. It was hard to get your 10 minutes, and it's great to actually like you're sharing some thought with us. So how are you today? Thanks for joining, and quickly introduction about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Um, well, I'm very excited about what's happening with Web3 in the last week, first of all. And I think that if you have been in Web3 for a few years and you have seen all the cycles, the most important point to your answer on how are we doing is that winters are really the best moment to build. We have seen this multiple times. The project that remains, that push, they innovate are exactly the one that then not just survive actually, but grow so much. And so I'm very excited about what's happening in the last few months, even if sometimes from numbers perspective, of course, we are not like at the top of the peak of stats. And I'd like to share with you like what's my mental model and taxonomy to measure how demand and supply is growing, to measure how much this market is still in the early pioneers phase and how much is moving to the next phase. If we can go to the next slide.
On it, yes.
And so this is my taxonomy. So you have agentic payments, people and agents selling and buying goods with agents. Then agentic infra, companies building tools to make agentic markets possible. Corporate treasuries, this idea that companies will start paying employees and vendor with crypto and they have their like agentic treasury that handles that. Agentic DeFi, so agents and people that creates businesses around agents managing money. And then traders, which is just anybody that with its own cursor or cloud code or whatever can just like trade in a different way. Instead of setting like putting the trade, you create the agent that puts the trade. So these are like the areas. How is it going? What's the state for each of them? Agentic payments. If you look just at the numbers, like X402 was doing like more than 300,000 like volumes per day in December. Now it's like 20K. You don't get the picture, because the picture is actually, I think, very exciting, and I think that Kevin will discuss this more and better than me later. The number of companies that are deciding to partner with X402 and start using it has skyrocketed. We basically have announcement every week. So the quality of sellers is and the quantity is definitely growing. And if you look at the other like number that people look at is like the average value of a transaction that has gone down. It's not negative actually, because thanks to the X402 release that happened a few goes that makes by far easier micro payments, we have really unlocked a new set of use cases that weren't possible. So this is actually a good sign, because you have a new kind of transaction that wouldn't have happened. So great moment to build more sellers, definitely a more mature supply. The demand needs to grow definitely, but I think we have like good signs. Agentic infra, so this comes from like different places. You have exchanges that are creating agentic infra. You have wallets like MetaMask. You have like many companies building from the payment space, both the innovative payment space, think about like what Crossmint or MoonPay are creating in the agentic space, or from traditional institutional payment space. So both MasterCard and Visa have launched their agentic solution in Q2 with a slightly more institutional approach compared to what we could have, of course, or MoonPay or other players. I would say that but my takeaway from this space is that if you look at like NPM downloads, which are like a good, could be a partial proxy of success, who has launched MCP to expose wallet locally to the agent that runs locally definitely got less traction compared to server wallets. So agents are always online, agents are wherever. And so companies like Coinbase, MetaMask, and others that opted for server-side wallets are definitely like growing more. But for sure, the infra space is definitely waiting for more growth on demand. Corporate treasuries, I would basically skip it because it's very hard to find like any number. It doesn't. So companies using agents to manage the treasury. Corporate, it's still super early. Just a few DAOs. Even if you have like solutions out there, if you're not familiar, I suggest to check out Superfluid. Superfluid is a startup that has been around now for 4 years, I think, and they create programmable money flows that are great for also corporate adoption. Agentic DeFi. So we have definitely less new projects compared to, in terms of pace of new project per month, compared to the one that we had in Q4 2025, definitely. On DeFi Llama, there are like 30 protocols listed in this category. Out of 30, 20 has no TVL. It depends. Zi-Fi is growing a lot. ISA is like the opposite. It's like projects that are doing better than others. But my personal takeaway on this, and if you look at like the fees, and DeFi Llama is nice because you can track the fees. And my takeaway is that LLM is not necessarily, and actually it's pretty minimal in terms of the impact of running the core of agentic DeFi. Because if you look at there are like around $30 million of monthly fees, and only Bancor is LLM driven and does, I think, 2 to 3 million per month of fees. All the others, well, the most popular is Axiom, then you have Maestro, Trojan, they're all like deterministic. And guys, that's fine. When we say agents, we don't need to be in love necessarily with LLMs. There are like many kind of models, many kind of building software. So that's totally fine. It's a feature. It's not a bug. And arriving at traders. So this is clearly, from a numbers perspective, the segment that has grown a lot more in the last 6 months. So purely looking at stats, it's definitely the one that is growing more in an exponential way, which is why Agent Wallet, and Zen will discuss this better, has really picked this as like the sweet spot in terms of ICP, in terms of target. I think the most exciting number is Hyperliquid SDK, TypeScript SDK number of downloads, and what happened in the last few months. We moved from 300,000 downloads in February to 720,000 in July. So it's basically more than, it's almost a 2.5x in a few months. As you know, guys, NPM downloads is not the number of people you should discount. It's probably the 5%, but still, so we are probably talking about a number of, in the order of tens of thousands of people in this world. We hope 2, 3, 4, nobody knows exactly, that are autonomously using their coding harness to create their own bot that can trade. And of course, this is like, again, not LLM specific. They use an LLM to code, but then the application logic to trade can be totally deterministic. And this growth is growing just 3 months is very exciting. Polymarket has a different dynamic because the overall volumes reach their peak in March, and we're now 60% down. But that's just more a cycle thing of a specific product in general. So we can clearly say that trading is becoming by far more programmatic, and that non-technical people can finally code their harness. And that's why we created the Agent Wallet. Our focus is really building the security primitive, which is that protects the user and the agent also from hallucination, and follows all the specialized security pipeline that we are strong on as MetaMask.
Yes.
So is the protocol safe? Is the asset safe? is MEV happening, and make sure that the agent doesn't need to think about all this. All this optimizing, it's not just about security, it's also about usability, optimizing for the number of tokens, the lower the better, and the number of seconds. And we internally, we should like share a few videos, but we like to show how much like you can really one shot an agent with agent wallet in, it gets 21 seconds to have a wallet installed working, and then in 1 or 2 extra minutes you can have a full agent that is able to play a grid strategy on Hyperliquid. And that's like our like infra contribution to really help like this growing number of indie traders. It's actually, you have both like indie or very advanced traders in having fun and trading safely with blockchains.
That's very cool. I mean, this is a great monologue, Marco. I think like we wanted
Sorry,
to ask
it's
a
not,
question.
it's not actually a fight. I just wanted to share some numbers because sometimes it's useful to have like some temperature check and see what's going well, what could
Oh, this is
go
good.
better.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate also like the number around what actually like is happening. What are the things that people are also like doubling down. Do you see what are kind of like the main work stream that you think like the space should still work on? Like, is this ready for also like actual like grammar consumer level? What are some kind of like so around there, right? What the space need to kind of like emerge with any specific solution out there?
I think that there is like so much work at any level, so it's
Yeah,
hard to list everything. It's also fine to be aware that like different industries will play their role.
yeah,
So I think the blockchain will be more and more something under the hood that you said, Grandma, that the final consumer will not even be aware about, and this is totally fine. So we will have AI coded interface created by humans or other AIs that will completely abstract blockchains. And this, there is a lot to do here. In what's closer to us and what also us like nerdy people very excited about technical things, I think we can really do a lot in terms of agentic models. So we're now using LLMs for everything, but LLMs are not necessarily the sweet spot. So LLMs are created for humans that like to chat and read. But if you have an agentic flow, you need to go faster to have something secure.
yes,
Maybe you need models that are by far faster. Time in trading is everything, and can really understand better the context and make solution that make choice that are more safe. So with like some confidence of what's happening, more secure. What I'm saying is that the model that creates our Opus 5 that creates a nice research is not necessarily the best model to run trading bots, which is why, as I was saying, the 90% of trading bots are right now not using large language model. But there is a whole world between LLMs and just if else mechanics. So that's definitely one space, but I think we could
nice. And I
work.
think like you mentioned compatibility, right? So interoperability between different harnesses. I think like people will look also a lot of like different islands being connected fast, right? That's
Yeah,
exciting.
this will. So we really had different phases where there was OpenClaw, then OpenClaw started being customized in multiple versions, also by like very large companies that created their own version. Now, then we have another wave exploring how we maybe need lighter harnesses faster because the amount of code and maybe when we have like reinforcement loops on how can you have agents that automatically improve themselves on what they need. So the also technically how the harness is built in terms of quantity of code, how much it needs to be ready before, how much it can create it at runtime, will change a lot. Also in regards to how model will change. So maybe we'll have by far lighter harnesses with model more powerful on agentic flows, or also like vice versa could happen.
I agree. Yeah, I think also connector are playing a huge role here, right? And I think like I saw a tweet from someone that was saying like actually agents are spending far much tokens than humans right now. So we need to cut on those tokens. Awesome.
I
Sounds good.
my agents
Go for
get
it.
like 200K tokens, like just to do a research on a token and then do sentiment analysis, doing the news and all. But I think like what Marco said, that like some of the parts also can be deterministic on the LLM level as well. So definitely something that we can improve.
Yeah. Let's make an example. When you ask what's the weather like in Rome to an LLM, to your agent, it still takes like 7 seconds, 6 seconds. We solved that years ago. It arrives in my homepage, the weather like in my city, and using a lot of electricity. It's like totally, and we are so used to these harnesses that we think it's fine, but it's not fine, guys. It and we still need to like so the harnesses would really, I think, improve a lot. And I really want something that if I ask what's the weather, can ask like instantly, and without like consuming, like creating a 20K tokens context window and then going on the other side of the planet. It's like, that's
Yes.
why I'm super bullish on small models and local models.
Yes, I think also memory preservation is something like super important. But I mean, but Marco, thanks so much for bringing this up. Any kind of like closing work before we are actually like moving to Zen session?
Yes, let's listen the rest of super curious and excited.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Marco. It was a big pleasure to have you here. So I would say let's actually like bring Zen. Before we do that, I would say let's actually like play the video. What do you say, Ayush? Like this is what we launched 2 weeks ago on our social, and we want to actually share it here. I hope the sound will work. So let's
It's a good
see.
sound.
Okay, that was a quick one. In the meantime, we invited Zen on stage. Zen, it's a pleasure to have you here. I know it's super late. You want to quickly introduce yourself? And yeah, honor to have you here.
No, thanks so much for having me, Francesco. Hey, Ayush, how you doing? I'm Zen. I'm one of the senior directors here at MetaMask, and myself, as well as my team, were responsible for the agent wallet, as well as a lot of the agent and AI implementations in MetaMask itself. So super excited to be here today to introduce it to y'all, and really dive down into a little of the details of what makes it unique. Because there's lots of CLIs out there, let's face it. There's lots of tools to use agents. AI hasn't been hyped up just for the last few months. It's been hyped up for years now at this point. So I think when we first started thinking about, we launched Agent Wallet recently for general availability for all users. And it was an early access phase. And when we really took a step back and took a look at why we wanted to launch the Agent Wallet, it's really fun. We thought about, first off, what to build in such a dynamic market, right? AI is a market that changes not just on the same, not just like monthly or weekly, but actually even daily, right? It's a super dynamic market. New models get launched, competitors beat competitors, things are made redundant, new startups exist, etc., etc., etc. And but building a product takes time, and we wanted to build something that made sense on a fundamental layer that wouldn't change, that would provide value to the market today. And that's what we have the Agent CLI today. What we did and what MetaMask has that is battle tested, well leveraged, has billions of volume or even trillions of volume that's gone through it, is our transaction stack, right? MetaMask has been the leading wallet in crypto for over 10 years. And as such, we wanted to take this battle tested transaction stack and let not just humans use it, but agents use it. Now, that's what the CLI is focused on, such that agents themselves can leverage on our security scanning, on our transaction nuance engineering and handling, on our other tools available inside MetaMask, such that agents could traverse crypto much more easily. And that's what I'm super excited about to share with all of y'all, Francesco.
Nice, nice. And I think like yeah, we prep a couple of slides that we want to go through, and feel free also like you to ask some question. I think like one interesting slide that we had was basically like who are actually like the consumer of MetaMask agent wallet, right? What are the kind of like the path that we are trying to empower people, from advanced trader, but maybe you have some kind of like words like how everything kind of started, and what are really like the goal of the agent wallet from like the EIP program to the next months going forward now that we are fully general access ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think you know, it's no secret in Web3 or in crypto in particular that 90%, 95% of use cases are trading, speculation, um, or essentially just trading. And as such, I think in particular, the agent wallet and CLI is focused on traders and enabling traders to navigate Web3. That said, it's also designed for developers who are building for traders and training use cases to utilize it as well. And you certainly can do that. And these are the two kind of demographics that I think we've been targeting. So basically, if you'd like to trade yourself or you'd like to build an agent that trades on behalf of yourself or others, that's what the SDK really is focused on.
Exciting. Exciting. I think like also like with Ayush, like in a lot of those office hours, we also run through different like use case and features, and we try to kind of resume this in one single slide, right? What are the main features? You want to kind of like run us through a bit. What even are your favorite features today? What are you actually to day using it, and how people can actually like play with Agent Wallet and what they can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you guys have seen lots of examples. And maybe I'll kick off with mine first, and then Ayush, you can come and tag along. For me, other than all of these things, what I did was I hooked it up to my harness naturally. And then I hooked it up to a Nautilus backend engine. Nautilus is this quant engine that it's a professional quant engine built in Rust um, that specifically is designed for predictive algorithmic trading. Not exactly HFT because you'll never really be able to beat Jane Street and all of that, but fast trading, I would say. And basically, MetaMask CLI with LLMs are utilized to build scripts that act on certain things. And I think for me, for a long time, what I did during the World Cup was very simply prediction market arbitrage, right? So IBKR, which is a different brokerage, set up and launched their prediction market. And then I just arbitraged that with Polar Market and Kalshi. And had an LLM in the loop because LLMs basically had to, what bets would be like, hey, Germany might beat Japan 3-1, right? And then the other side might be like Japan beats Germany. And these two are equivalent bets, but before LLMs, we couldn't make them equivalent, right? Now with LLMs, you are able to, and that's kind of what I did. Ayush, what are some examples you're seeing in the market?
Yes.
Like I think like one of the examples that I did was like doing the pubs trading, but I used to check at the liquidation heat map on the coin glass. So I had my harness to get like the liquidation heat map data from the coin glass and then understand like where the market is flowing beforehand. And if you have like if you know the how the liquidation heat map works, it's usually like you might see the graph move in a particular way, either longs getting liquidated or shorts getting liquidated. So I had my agents like do the pub setting on like using the heat map data, and apparently like it was working well. It didn't have like any RSI indicator and all these indicators to check whether okay to have like the proper strategy, but just looking at the heat map that this is the nearest magnet that you can capture and placing the bats on that. It worked well. It worked pretty well. The last time we did like the copy trading one, right? Francesco, we did
Yes.
with the Asian wallet. That account has more than 1,000% return right now on the pops because we did like copy an address to open like ETH 20x long, and it has went a lot up since.
True.
Wow. This is you might get. Do you have subscription to the Trump API, Ayush? Is that why you knew that Trump tweet was coming?
Some FOMO account, huh?
We
No,
hope.
we should do more of those live coding session, Ayush. I think we tried the DCA also. I think we had also like LeFi on Earn. It's definitely like one feature I'm also very excited about. I think like we need more those. I mean, MetaMask Agent Wallet. I feel like it's also like this execution layer for also like auto yields, helping you finding and discovery new yields. I think like in terms of like liquidity pool or opportunities. So I'm excited about this specific feature, but I think we also surface different like use cases that were not even like DeFi specific. Like with X42, you can literally start doing like flight booking, flight discovery, even arbitrage between like flight specific. So there is a lot of different cool things. But I think obviously the most important feature are on spot perps and predictions, right? Do you want to mention a bit, Ayush, on the one shot anything? I think like it's really important.
I remember the discussion and when the agent world discussion started, like Zen's like one thing was we want to one shot everything. And that's what agent wallet is able to do now. Like we support like sign message, we support like sign type data, and we support like sending raw transactions, right? So basically your agent can also like create their own call data or like sign type message to be signed. So and if you don't support like any kind of like thing or web3 interaction you want to do, for example we support as of now hyperliquid, but if you want to like do trades on lighter, you can do it. You can build your own scale and route it through agent wallet. So we always know that having access to private key given to the agent, it was always not a good way to do the agentic trading. And that's what one shot interaction like kind of solves as well. Even if you don't support, you can do anything that you can do with metamask from agent wallet.
Yes. I mean, I'm excited about what we kind of like, we show what are the specific feature, but I think I even more excited more about how you can do it, right? I think like we introduced different kind of modes, right? Guard modes and beast mode, and I think like we even prepped here one quickly like slide to walk through us. Like, do you want to kind of walk us through like the big differences, how people can interact, any preferred mode, and what kind of like different modes entailed in terms of like security feature, or even like execution features.
Is it for me? Should I?
And
uh,
anyone, I think, of course, like I know that Zen is a big fan of like the beast mode, but feel free to kind of mention a bit.
Yeah, I think like like we have like two modes for the trading. Especially like anytime you create an account, you have to choose one of the modes. So then in guard mode, we kind of have like certain like kind of policies that you can set as a user. One of the things that we saw was like also like agents able to overspend, and you might want to restrict that. So you can like have an outflow policy that says like you can only spend $50 a day or something like that. And we also like saw that there were like prompt injection attacks where like agents were transferring money to new addresses that they have never interacted with. So we also like have like a policy for recipient address, like where like the agent is transferring. So even if it's interacting with a new address, if it's not whitelisted, it will basically not allow it directly. It will ask for the MFA request, and only if you approve it will kind of go forward and do the transaction. Otherwise, it will not go forward. It will reject it. In the beast mode, as the name suggests, like the beast mode, you can do anything. It does not had has like the outflow policy or the like whitelisted of the addresses, but it has like something that I think Zen and Marco both mentioned, that we are famous for the transaction and the security stack we have in the MetaMask, right? So we kind of provide that in the beast mode as well. Any transaction that you do on the agent wallet goes through the same stack that we use in the MetaMask, and it basically tries to understand whether the contract interaction that agent is doing, is it like malicious or not. The token they're trading with, is it like not a malicious token or a spam token, right? You might lose your funds while approving the token as well. So all those kind of checks goes into the beast mode, and it will definitely like ask for the MFA. Unless you approve it,
just
your agent won't be able to go ahead.
just to add on to what Ayush is saying, to simplify, I think. if you're used to an exchange and like whitelisting addresses and all, guard mode is for you. But if you want your agent to be fully autonomous, to go across Web3 and really find the best opportunities without you in the loop, then beast mode it is.
That's true.
Really like it. I think also on the security side, um, we have also some question in the chat, right? Like, about kind of specific, hacking things. What happens if AI makes the wrong decision about the transaction passes simulation and blockade security checks, or from Lucky Girl, what if the agent is manipulated by the hacker and payment is usual? How the agent react to it? So maybe we want to kind of like give some insights around how those transactions are being secured and what is happening. I think if you want to describe a little bit the security out of it, I think it's will respond also to those questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first and foremost, we naturally have all of MetaMask's full transaction stack, simulating as well as scanning transactions. This goes through our scans, blockade scans, and more in particular, and basically there's that first layer. The second layer is explicit policies that you can set and outline yourself, right? Which is basically like, hey, layer like your outflow policy per day, or the number like addresses that you'd like to interact with, etc., etc., etc. Those also additionally can be set on top of items. Then we have also all of your standard like phishing attacks, your honeypot transactions, your live black/white lists in particular. That's also funneled into the whole system. And yeah, every transaction is basically scanned before you submit it. So and if it's found malicious, you'd be notified, as well as be required to proceed in particular.
Sounds good. Exciting. I think like we saw different like use case and actually like people getting like flagged, and the fact that we are leveraging the same security standard from MetaMask products, like from extension to mobile, I think it's also like adding a lot of like powerful features on top of like the agent wallet. Sounds good. I think before we kind of like move to our next session, and mostly like kind of like the getting started, more like a demo. Hopefully the demo gods are with us. Any kind of like closing words where even the space is going, then what are you excited about? Any kind of sneak peek or on what are we actually like working in terms of like roadmap, or even like the feedback from the community that you get?
Yeah, no, I mean the feedback is great thus far. And as of sharing like what we're working on next, as well as I do, that's a little bit of a secret, don't you, Francesco?
No
But
one
I
is listening to us.
but I think the market. I think 40% of or 35% of all agent harnesses which are open source today, whether in Web 2 or Web 3, are trading focused in particular, or finance focused. And I think it's very clear that there's a very strong indication to want to use AI to handle and help with money. I know lots of people are still nervous about it. And I think we're really thinking about that, meeting those two needs right there, right? The demand of people wanting to try it out, as well as meeting that safety standard and trust that people expect from MetaMask when using AI. So I think, please do play around with the Agent CLI. There will be more coming, which is very equivalently supplementary and tangential to it. And do reach out if any questions and feedback as well. We'd love to hear from y'all.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zen. It's been really a pleasure to have you here and kind of like asking you those questions while kind of like presenting this first kind of like first time post GA. And yeah, excited, as Zen mentioned. If you're excited, if you think like you could be a good partner, and building kind of like those connector. If you think like we need more of those feature that you're building, if you think like you just want to play out and kind of like embed MetaMask agent wallet in your trading workflow, always feel free to reach out. We are very happy. Our doors are always like open. So thank you so much, Zen, and thanks so much again for joining at such a late night. And hopefully looking forward to meet IRL with all the community around Singapore and Token 2049. Thanks so much. Cool. So I think like next, I'm excited about. Hopefully the demo gods are with us. But I think it's a much easier session that our normal live coding session where we actually build something and we vibe code something like from scratch. So what do we want to show today? I think we send over the specific docs. I think zero chain was actually like asking. We send over also like the docs of the agent wallet. Thanks so much for sharing. So where people can get started, let's actually start with that.
I think like if you want to get started with the agent wallet or setup, the easiest way to do that is that you can go to the docs.metamask.io. We'll share the link as well in the chats. So you can go to the agent's wallet and go to quick start. Now, one thing you can do is you can just grab the quick start, give it to your agent, and that's it. It will automatically know like what to install, what skills to be installed, what are like the different like wallets mode we offer, and we'll also ask you a question like which trading mode you want to go forward. So as like Marco mentioned, like you can actually get started with the agent wallet in like less than 21 seconds and have it under 1 minute, like what your first agent wallet. And so basically go to the agent wallet slash quick start. That's the way to get started. Give it to your agent, it will figure out on
Yeah.
its own.
I think like that's actually a good inputs, right? I think like first, I think I don't know if people understood like this is compatible with any harness out there, right? But second is you don't need to read almost docs anymore. Like you can just feed literally the quick start to your favorite like harness and agent, and they will pick up like the main parts here.
Yeah, and it's like agent wallet is what was made for agents. So like I don't think there is any human loop needed, at least like for manually doing things. And I think it's smart enough. Your framework would be smart enough to like also ask you questions when we provide like multiple options. Everything is basically headless, so your agents can also like interact directly with CLI. So yeah, so I think like that's the way you can get started. Once you have like installed in whatever like agent framework you want, you prefer like the cloud code. You might have your Hermes agent or OpenClaw agent. You can interact via communication channels as well. So like the first thing, once you have like done the setup, right, it will ask you to log in and create an account, use the trading mode. You can think as like what is my address, right, would be the first thing that you can do. So we offer like two modes, right? Like we for the wallet mode we have like oh, my address, my wallet address. So we offer like two modes, right? Here is a server wallet mode, and the second is like is the BY okay?
We can, yes, we can. I think formats, yes, can see it.
Yes. Okay, so let me explain first, and then maybe I can see like why agent is hallucinating over here. Yeah, so in the server wallet mode, you can use a social login like I have used here to log in. I have used, and the BYOK is like you can bring your own like mnemonics. So if you have like an account already set up, you can actually like bring that account and routes all the transaction through the agent wallet security layer and stuff. And if you're bringing your server wallet, you need to fund your wallet, right? So once you have the wallet address, you can fund your wallet with transferring from your MetaMask account to the agent wallet address. Okay, so I think like the skill was not loaded and it didn't like thought like to trigger the skill. But yeah, so now hopefully it will carry forward from here. So I think it is checking whether I have been logged in or not, and after it's done that, it will try to get the address for me. So as you can see, it is like triggering the shell commands behind the scene, triggered one of the shell command, which is like wallet address to give my address. And it's also showcased like, okay, I'm in the server wallet mode as of now. We can ask like, what is my wallet balance as well. I already like have funded my account. So like if you are not funded, you can basically transfer to your wallet address. And we support like multiple chains. We support like Base, we support Monad, and a lot of other chains. And you can basically simply interact with the agent to know what all chains we support. And as of now, like we have like some funds on the Monad. Apparently, like Monad also went up, and so we have like $6. So I think the easiest trade usually what you can do is like the meme coin trading, right? So if you know there is a meme coin out there and you want to purchase, right, you can ask your agent to do a swap. Let's say like I want to swap like so we are swapping like a Monad token to USDC worth of $2, and now it is asking me to check the references of the swap, so it knows like which commands to trigger and what to do. So right now we're just like saying it like, okay, do this. But as like Zen mentioned, you can also like have autonomous setups where you can create a loop. We have done like live streams on this. So there is something called as loop in Cloud Code. And you can also set up like cron jobs in Hermes and like in OpenClaw agents, where your agent like every 1 hour can go on Twitter and like find the like what is trending right now and do trades based on that as easy as it can get. But as you can see, like when it went, it found the code and is like asking for the approval. Do you want to go ahead and swap? We can say yes. And you can also see like what is the minimum output, what is the USD value, price impact, fees. We are basically paying zero fee, so we don't take any of the additional charges on swap or anything that you do on the agent wallet. And it will try to execute now the code, and hopefully we'll have some USDC on Monad as well now.
What are you like that you get a lot of like different feedbacks with like current like users? Like what are like sometimes like the blockers or the problems that people get while either funding the first Asian wallet or transacting with their orchestrator? Like
I think
lesson
like
learned even. Yeah.
one of the problem that we discovered was more on the like prediction market side, and also like sometimes on hyperliquid, because hyperliquid and poly market might be banned in some of the regions, right? So when you try to deposit the funds, it might not go through because it does check your IP, right? It blocks based on that. So the APIs that we use behind the scenes are also like the poly market and the hyperliquid API, so it might be getting blocked because of the geo restrictions. It might not go through, and agents can keep on trying it because they don't know, okay, this is the issue that's stopping from depositing funds, right? So then after that we also added like geo checker, right? You can check for prediction market whether you are geo blocked or not. So I think like I think depositing into hyperliquid and prediction market were two of the cases where we saw like agents failing and improved there. So we can check what is my balance now, because it has gone through successfully. We have the transaction hash as well, so we should have some USDC on Monad.
In the meantime, I usually like bringing this up. There is S Maxi from our early access program. Can MetaMask CLI trade on Hyperliquid?
Yes, we can trade on Hyperliquid as well. So you can see like we have like now 2 USDC. We can, what is my perps balance? And whenever you like interact with the perps commands, right, it's like right now it's checking the perps balance. It is basically Hyperliquid behind the scenes. So yes, you can interact. We support like HIP3 markets as well, so if you want to like interact with the AI stocks and do long shots on that, you can do that. So right now I have like $60 of like Hyperliquid balance. Do you want to open a position, Francesco? You are
We
my
can.
LM today. I don't.
We
Let's
can.
keep it. You cannot tell agent to go and find the right, but you can do that as well.
Huh. Position. Yeah, we can do it. Something on Ethereum.
On Ethereum. Uh, okay, I think should be good, right? Open a long version for ETH with $5. And you
Yes,
can also like set up the like stop mark, stop price and the take profit.
this is
So
nice.
if you, yeah,
And I think
if you
people
wanna,
can build their own also like technical analysis skills
yes,
that can be triggered automatically, right?
yes. So as you mentioned, like as we saw, like I was like forgetting to say like what is the leverage you want to keep. Francesco RLLM, what is the leverage
Let's
you
do the
want?
5x. Let's be conservative in the crypto schema. Question,
5x,
Yush, what do you say?
5x is definitely not conservative.
True, true, true. Like question, gas fee payments? Like I think we got this question also like before.
So we do support like the gasless transactions. So even if you don't like, let's say like you are transferring only USDC on like certain chain and you want to do swaps or like deposit, we do support like gasless transaction in that cases where you can use like USDC or like the ERC20 token you have to pay for the gases, but we don't support like sponsors the get. We don't sponsor the gas transactions as such, but we do support like ERC20 payment for the gas.
That's good.
So it is like showcasing like this is my order summary, we can say yes, and it's given the liquidation price and everything to us as well. And it will hopefully go ahead and like open a perf position for us, and it is right. So we now have the perf position. Maybe we'll check after 2 weeks what is the what is the
Yes, let's
profit
see.
or everything, right? So I think that
Sounds good.
that's it. Like you can do a lot of like trading. Like prediction market is blocked in my region as well, so I cannot like interact without a VPN, and I don't want to do something crazy on live stream. But yeah, if poly market is like allowed, you can also like do poly market. You can also like do yield and like vault
Hmm.
deposit. We have
Nice.
you can check
Even earn,
the,
right? Yep.
yeah, on markets, right? It's behind the scene. It's like using the Li-Fi on, which will get all the walls that they support, and you can deposit in that.
Okay, sounds good. I think that part is important. And I think we can
Yeah,
also like speak a little bit more with both
yeah.
Alessandro and Kevin.
I think we can skip like it's basically like it will show all the markets, but yeah, you can see on the screen, right? And you can deposit on whatever one you prefer to. But yeah, that's all. Like these are everything that we have like in support with the CLI, or you can also like one shot anything you want.
I mean, the one shot is a big value prop, and the fact also like that it's been supported from like spot perps and pred from the start. I think that's super valuable. I mean, and we saw so many different use cases. We saw. I mean, I'm excited. I was excited about to see like the entire TE and the sentiment analysis like combination on the stock side. That was super super interesting to see, and this was literally like being built as a kind of connector. So, Ayush, thank you so much. I think that's super useful. And I think also this is also giving us a lot of like entry points for our next discussion. So without further ado, let's bring Alessandro and Kevin on stage. Let me toggle in. Kevin, Alessandro, it's a big pleasure to have you guys on this monthly MetaMask community call, super focused on MetaMask agent wallet. Before we start, you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Sure.
Kevin, you want to go first?
Yeah, happy to go first. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for having me. I think this is my third MetaMask community call, so it's always great to be here with the MetaMask team. I'm on the Coinbase developer platform team, focused on Coinbase products, specifically in the AI vertical. I'm one of the co-authors of X402 and helped lead the formation of the Linux Foundation X402 effort, and very excited to meet everyone and love the recent Agentic Wallet demo. Super cool.
Pleasure.
Hey guys, happy to be back as well. I mean, I love seeing your demo. I admit I was a bit nervous because it was like the earn demo. So if this fails, these guys are going to blame me. So it was a relief at the end. But yeah, anyway, I'm Alessandro. I'm from the product team at DeFi. mostly focused on DeFi and agentic use cases. For people who are not familiar with LeFi, LeFi is one of the largest or liquidity orchestration layer. We facilitate over like 80 billion in trading volume. We have like over 1,000 partners, including the let's see, MetaMask, Coinbase. So very happy, very excited to be here and chat with you guys.
Nice. Yeah, big pleasure, Alessandro, to have you here. And I think Kevin, definitely like you're also like a big veteran of those MetaMask calls, and he's really excited also to have you multiple time, and also like big honor being one of the author of like Explorer 2. It's exciting also to see like fresh perspective of how the ecosystem is going. But before we actually ask you like where Explorer 2 kind of like meets this MetaMask agent wallet, you wanna give us like a quickly 30-second kind of like version. What is Explorer 2? What's the problem they solve? And like agents paying for API data, all these kind of things without actually interacting specifically with a human at the checkout.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So X402 is a standard for payments over the 402 status code within HTTP. We set out to solve three main problems to improve. Really, what I want to do is improve the user experience for how language models call tools. So I'm sure everyone here is aware, right? When you need to give an agent a tool, if it wants to retrieve external data via an API or upload data to object storage or retrieve data from a database, if it wants to take any action on the internet, a human needs to go in the traditional model, derive an API key, put their credit card information to the API key portal, get the API key, go back to the language model and configure that tool call. And that's friction that is required for every single tool call, every single new superpower that you want to give your agent. There's all this friction associated with it. And so you can go and you can use a browser usage API to go navigate that. It's really token inefficient. And so we wanted to create a headless way for language models to call and pay for APIs in a way that leverages client-side authorization, where the client signature, the payment signature from the client authorizes the usage of the API, thus killing and replacing the need for an API key. So that was really the first main problem we solved. What that does, it enables tool discovery for agents. So agents can discover, and then more importantly, they can actually reason about the tools that they're using and then execute those. And so if you think about that within the context of agentic trading, we now have agents that can call the EXA API for web search or the U.com API for deep financial research, or maybe they need to spin up a browser and they want to pay for a browser session. They can do that, or they can retrieve social data from services like Appify and get data from trends on like X and TikTok and other services. So it gives this kind of real-time context that's available to the agent at request time that the agent itself can reason about in a really native way. The second main problem that we solve is economic reasoning. So I'll just quickly cover that as well. So when you give an agent an API key, it knows it can call the API. It has no idea how much it costs. And really, agents should be thinking about money as kind of a first-class alignment scaler in every decision that they make, right? And money can sometimes be a bit of a dirty word in San Francisco here and like with the foundation labs, but money is actually the coordinating principle of the global economy. And an agent that's aligned with the user economically is an agent that's aligned with the user generally. And so every decision agent makes, it should be thinking about money. With X402, every time it makes a request, it gets this 402 status code response over HTTP that gets embedded into its context window. So it has pricing information, the schema, the network, and now can reason economically. It can do things like qualitative reasoning or quantitative marginal cost analysis amongst tools. And so it just gives agents and language models the ability to better reason and align economically with their users. So those are two quick problems. We solved many more, but those are the two that I'm very excited about.
And I think also from that point, like there is a lot of like different use cases that got unleashed, right? And I think like for X402 specifically, like the fact that the agent wallet is can hold the keys, can have spending limits, kind of like X402 is the rail, right? And speaking about kind of like infra, LeFi is fully like under the hood, under the MetaMask agent wallet hood, right? And maybe Alessandro, you can give us a little bit more insights around how the routing swaps and bridges across chain works, how that show up when actually someone ran a MetaMask swap, right, in the CLI, the one that I usually did before.
Yeah. So indeed, the product we built for let's say we actually found out is super relevant for agents is what we call LeFi Composer. Think about LeFi Composer as like a transaction orchestration engine. Essentially, it's helping you to compose like multiple on-chain actions and turn them into like one single transaction, into one single flow. Now, this becomes relevant for different use cases. It's basically, the what drive like the line of products, the product line DeFi Earn, which is basically what helps us to aggregate multiple yield sources. So you, as either as a client, as a user, you can basically access all those different yield opportunity by just interacting with one single API. So making the whole integration as simple as possible. Now, this concept is not new for LeFi. The concept of aggregation is what indeed made LeFi super successful. In the past, we originally, started as, aggregator of bridge and swaps, which basically what it means is that every time you're basically sending a request for a specific quote, which is like, hey, I want to, for example, transfer from asset A to asset B. We're basically going to source like all the best liquidity source for that, whether they are like some indeed DEX pool, some permissionless pool, or maybe some permission pool. We have access. We basically provide this data back to the client, and they can choose. They can choose, whether they want to prioritize, for example, like finality, or they want to prioritize speed, or like basically like the quality of the price. So in the end, it's up to the user, and that's the same logic, that an agent will basically benefit, when he's basically going to try to swap to trade from one asset to another, or is going to try to deposit into whatever yield source is going to try. And so our job basically is to extend these capabilities. Today, of course, trading, earn are the most powerful use cases, but within the execution itself is not just I'm going to give you basically essentially the call data to execute this execution. It's also like, what are the boundaries for that execution? And that's something we focus a lot on our site. Things like, of course, simulating the transactions before we return you anything back, giving you the ability to set some specific policies, or sometimes setting the policy, directly like as a default, things like slippage, to avoid that, after a trade you get like 50% less. So those are all the things that we basically focus to make just the transaction experience as good as possible for the user.
Yes, make totally sense. Feel free to jump in, Ayush. One question that I had on Kevin is obviously like, being in charge on the GTM side, I'm also asking myself, so how is the adoption, not just on X402, but general like agentic payments? Like who adopt agentic payments first, and what has to be kind of true for it to go mainstream? Where do you see, and where you would like to see also the space to be in, like, I would say even 4 to 6 months, right? That is even a huge range for crypto.
Yeah, look, French, it's a great question. I think broadly, I'm really happy with kind of the adoption curve that we've seen so far. So we only launched X402 about a year and a few months ago, and then in the first year we had kind of enormous adoption. Yeah, what I care about is, first off, solving UX problems for tool usage with language models and enabling economic reasoning. I think if we can do that, then supply, demand, and volume will follow. I think, with any kind of a marketplace, there's kind of a chicken and egg problem with supply and demand. And so for X402 to actually be useful, we need the right suppliers, the right API endpoints, the right cloud service providers, the right tools that language models can use to actually complete work and to drive alignment, drive, the achievement of whatever the user's prompt intention is. And so I've been focused primarily on the last 12 months on growing that supply side and bringing key supply side partners on board. And then also nurturing the demand side. I think for the demand side to grow will be kind of the key lever to grow total payment volume. And what we need to do is we need to create better experiences for users, specifically around trading and around tasks that they might need to pay for API services around. And I think we're at the early innings of that. I think MetaMask's agentic wallet is a great use case for X402 broadly, especially I think trading is really interesting. And so, language models today, they have this frontier mathematical capability, right? They've solved or disproven the Riemann hypothesis and the Jacobian conjecture, right? Don't ask me what those things are, but I know it's a big deal in mathematics. So, but if language models can kind of exceed the frontier of human knowledge on mathematics, right? My intuition is that they'll be pretty good at executing trading strategies if they have the right data. And so now that we have all of the sources for real-time context for agents to make trades, I expect kind of the demand to increase. And, really, right, I think if users can start to showcase how they're earning more money through agentic trading, like how they're executing portfolio actions and trades, like this is going to attract more and more users, going to create a snowball effect. But I think broadly, we have an opportunity here to really reshape global financial markets. I think kind of the rise of AI and kind of applied intelligence with real-time data feeds is actually going to really shift how humans interface with financial markets. And it's something I'm really excited about. I think we're, again, really at the early innings. And I think we're starting to see a lot of great kind of demand side products from companies like MetaMask, but also companies out of Y Combinator, like Orthogonal, Locus, Sponge, and then companies out of Andreessen Horowitz, like Merit Systems, Agent Cash, starting to create really interesting user experiences around X402 driven tool calling. So I'm really excited about kind of what's happened in the space today. I know Coinbase broadly is very excited. And, I think, again, if we can solve tool use friction and enable better economic reasoning for agents, it's going to be a winning combination.
And I feel also this overlap with traditional AI right now is really working well, right? People that can start actually interacting with Web3 infrastructure through different orchestrator. I think they are much less blocker compared before, and also X402 is getting much more broadly adopted. So that's exciting. I think we have a question from Faz here, Alessandro. Maybe this is a side question. Is RWA cross-chain available? And what's the infra kind of today?
Yes, it is available. So indeed, right now you can essentially trade RWA stocks, from multiple chain. Whether you're on Solana, you want to go on Robinhood chain, those routes are available. And RWA is a very interesting, let's say, topic for us. Let me first say that, kind of my thesis, let's say, is that the addressable crypto market somehow reach a ceiling, and therefore we are looking at all these potential additional addressable market, mostly coming from the traditional finance, and how that can basically be leveraged using blockchain or using agentic infrastructure. And maybe something interesting for if there are some developers interested in some use cases, is how do we basically build the right financial raise for those institutions. And the problem moves from, hey, I'm just trying to maximize my yield, 100% plus, to actually how do I deal with things like compliance in my setup. How do I basically make sure that all the transactions my agents are doing are consistent with some policies that I have set up, which maybe come from a specific contract I have with my liquidity provider, things like fund mandate, and how do I basically reconcile all of those things. So the problems are expanding as we actually go after this new gigantic market, which again is not just the crypto traders anymore. And I'm honestly very excited. And RWA is one great example. Kudos to Coinbase for launching tokenized stocks. So yeah, very excited.
Yeah, but I feel everything is kind of colliding together, right? There are mostly and I think it's not just specific to AI and crypto. I think the entire kind of hardware heavy companies are also getting a lot of boost on that. So I think it's kind of getting everything together. Any specific use case that you guys are excited about? Could be in those industry, could be also use case that you think need to be worked on right now, that could also accelerate specific adoption. Could be adoption for the trading experiences from agent wallets, but also adoption in general to kind of specific acquisition or even user consumer. Feel free to jump in, anyone.
I have another question for Kevin as well.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saying you talked about talking to the services to get onboarded in the X402. I think one of the use cases that I feel is more on the A2A side as well, where if an agent is good in something, they can spin up their own X402 server and sell as a service as well, right? So kind of doing more A2A direct interaction without no other services being in in the loop. have you seen like adoption in that kind of use cases where agents
Yeah,
spin up the servers?
it's a really great question, Ayush. I think, we hear a lot of interest around kind of like A to A commerce. And I think this is something that's like somewhat futuristic, but I don't think it's far away. I think today, like there's a lot of value in giving agents kind of deterministic API responses via tool calling. And so like agents themselves, they have this like really vast reasoning capacity, but it's not deterministic. But when they can have access to like these real sources of truth, like on-chain data, financial market data, when they can take actions that makes the agent more valuable. I think there's a lot of interest in this like A to A economy though. And so in the future, right, maybe one agent, could be specialized and, tackle a task, and you might gate that agent itself over an X402 endpoint. I think that's a really interesting model. I think, really there's kind of like two worldviews in the AI landscape. Like one is almost this like, I don't know, call it monotheistic worldview where you have one AI agent, and the one AI agent is going to have like all of the reasoning capacity. It's going to be one model to rule them all. And kind of the other competing worldview is something where you have all these fine-tuned open source models that are task specific. And in that worldview, if the kind of that open source, like fine-tuned worldview plays out, I think you could see a flourishing of an A2A economy. And those agents could be gated by X402. They might be paying each other to do tasks, but that would look a little bit different than what we see today, which is primarily, one language model making tool calls on behalf of the user.
Nice. I think really saw like where agents can also like maybe publish their APIs on the bazaar, and like other agents can use it directly. It would be cool to have live in that era.
I agree. And, you could imagine like you could even do this like maybe on trading, like maybe you have agents that, themselves, like these could be almost kind of, I don't know, somewhat similar to like an ETF where it's like, the inverse trader, right? Inverse Kramer like bot. And then it's just giving you kind of like inverse Kramer, like trading recommendations, or someone that tracks a specific trader. You can start to feed this information to your local agent to execute those trades. That could be interesting from a trading perspective. And then there are all these task markets, like a task market's a company itself in the X402 ecosystem. There's a company called Super Agent that's out of Y Combinator that's built its own kind of open source task market implementation. So we're starting to see kind of early examples of this, which I think are quite interesting.
Nice.
Very cool. Maybe I try to reformulate kind of like my question, right? Like one, like if you need like for 6 months, right? What is kind of like one single piece in the stack that we kind of like, and this could be before agentic execution, like that we kind of like need to solve here. Could be on the LeFi level, could be more on the X402 level. What could be this missing piece, and where you wish like builders will actually tackle on?
Yeah, maybe I can take this one. Again, it reconnects a bit with my previous point, and I say most of conversations I say currently having, especially with providers that want to add their capabilities to the existing LeFi infrastructure, is really much based on this concept of like permission vaults. So we're moving away, whether this is good or bad, I'll let you guys think about, like moving from this permissionless model to this more permissioned model, where you can only deposit, for example, into some vaults if you have like the right authorization. So we're basically entering this challenge of like, hey, if I have my agent who would like to buy a share from a vault whose capital is distributed in like as a treasury bill, how do I provide the right necessary authorization of that? And I don't have a response for that, but I know this is an actual challenge in the way we try to solve this problem related to like agentic identity, how that agent is connected to the actual human behind, and the ability to let him trade. So this is a big problem today we have for as I say accessing this extra addressable market out there, which is a traditional finance that follows rules that are slightly different from what we have. It's more about, as I say, it's more about policy, it's more about regulation, compliance. Might not sound sexy, but this is also where the volumes really are. And if people are able to solve that, I think this will unlock huge opportunities.
Sounds good. Kevin, any answer on that? If not, I will bring up a question from the chat.
Yeah, I think agent reputation is really it's continuing to be an interesting place to build, right? And when I think of agent reputation. It's kind of the analogy for like SEO for agent tools, right? So like how does an agent decide which tool to use, right? And I think there's really 3 levels to agent reputation. The first is like, did the API respond? So just like the internet, right? Anything can be built on X402 that's HTTP driven. So you can have like a website that doesn't respond. So let's make sure the API responds first. That's the most important signal. The second is the response correct, right? So if it's feeding market data, we need to make sure that that response is correct and eval and verify that. And then the third, I think, is the most interesting. So the third kind of level of reputation from my perspective, the way that I'm looking at it is like, not only was the agent responsive and was the response correct, but did the response align with the user's intention? So like, what's the user's prompt, and did the response help them achieve their goal, their intention, their task? I think that this could be like a really great RL data set that could drive kind of optimization around tool usage for agents. And I think it factors in, like, you can add kind of components around economic reasoning around that too. But I think, kind of the decision-making process of tool usage with agents, totally under-researched. And I think it'd be a cool place to build.
Sounds good. Exciting. Thanks, Kevin. One question here over MCP. I think like Ayush is relevant here. Same from like STMG from our early access program. X402 over MCP, now live on MetaMask Agent Wallet. Cannot pay for gated MCP tool access with its own wallet.
I think shout out to him for raising the PR. So he raised the PR and the PR is now live. So now we do support like X402 over MCP. I think like he had like one question he asked in the office, which I remember was like, I think Kevin, this might be relevant to you. Are you seeing the adoption of X402 over MCP? Are people preferring over HTTP 1?
That's a spicy question. We should run a poll on Twitter, maybe. Just go for it, Kevin.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think broadly, something that's happening that's really interesting is that now that X402 is in the Linux Foundation, there's a lot of opportunities for alignment between the MCP spec and X402. I think we've seen this resurgence in MCP over the last, call it 4 months, and really that has to do with SEP 2575, which makes MCP stateless. And so one of the key design goals from X402 from the beginning was that X402 needed to be stateless because HTTP itself is stateless, right? And there are great blog posts from Google engineers around kind of the failure and the coordination overhead of sessions and why sessions don't scale. And I think we see this, sometimes with implementations of sessions kind of in the crypto ecosystem. There's a lot of great writing from engineers around kind of this failure mode in kind of the broader like MCP ecosystem. But now that MCP is stateless, I think it aligns very well with X402. And X402 hopefully will continue to become kind of the dominant way that people price and pay gate MCP actions. And so I can share this blog post in the chat. I guess I can't share it in the public chat, but
Yes.
I can share that in our chat here. But yeah, very exciting. I think research and kind of development that's happening in the MCP space.
Exciting. Yeah, it's very interesting, like why this search is happening kind of like now, right? I think people are looking for more kind of like connectors and kind of like is basically cross work between different like studies. So I think on the agent wallet we see that a lot, right? That people want to build and use their skills, leverage like other company MCPs. So there is a lot of different things. You remember you showed also the use case around sentiment, and I think I don't remember, was Carmen that built this kind of like sentiment analysis for like proper stock. Was really cool.
Yeah, actually we did like a live stream as well where we were using X402 to get the Masari endpoint to get sentiments and actually doing the trade. So I think this kind of use case like fulfill that. Kevin, like one more question, like just following up that question. One thing that we realized while testing the X402 over MCP was that we didn't see any sellers supporting it. Do you have like any sellers in mind which support that, so we can like do more testing and see like how it works, because we had to make our own to do some testing.
Yeah, look, I think that this is like an alignment area that's in progress between kind of the Linux Foundation, the Agentic AI Foundation under Linux, and X402 under Linux. So I expect to see more kind of output there. MCPs generally still require like human authorization because you're sharing some kind of OAuth credential. But then if you have a wallet that can pay, I think there's some really cool kind of workflows that can emerge from that. I think it's still early, and Ayush, if you build anything cool in that space, I'd love to learn more and amplify and check it out. So
awesome.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think we're at time. Again, any closing words, Kevin or Alessandro? Any call to action? Anything that you guys want everybody to know or listen? Lesson learned before we're closing up.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. So I think if you're on this call, you're at the frontier of agents and payments. And, I think if we just think logically, right? Like, again, language models are solving like the Riemann hypothesis, and they're disproving the Jacobian conjecture. Like, trading in agents is going to be huge. And it's a really interesting place to build. And so if you're building in this space, talk about agentic architectures. There's a lot of opportunities to become kind of an AI influencer, talking about the architecture between the language model, the context window, the tools that are being used, and how you're leveraging this to drive trading. I think everyone wants to know, like, how can my agent earn me money? And, you can have an agent create a digital service and monetize that, but I think trading is going to be a very low-hanging fruit for people to start to build really cool agentic use cases, and I'm super pumped for it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, from my side, it's kind of an invitation, to like search for more, say, complex use cases. I've seen a lot so far of use cases where, based on like agentic trading, I call this like yield maximization. Just look at the best yield opportunity and return the best, which is great. But as I say, the space is moving so fast, this is already becoming like some sort of commodity. So now the challenge is moving to something else. Is like, how do I make sure basically my agent has the right set of boundaries? What are these boundaries? Who determines these boundaries? How can I check that my agent has behaved according to these boundaries for like auditing purposes? Like, those are some of the strong needs out there. And as I say, if you are looking for, let's say, an infrastructure to help you with the execution, I suggest to check like LeFi Composer. You can go to our website, li.fi, check Composer. It's like a great execution engine. You can combine it with Agent Kit, Coinbase, like MetaMask wallet. It all works well, and it helps you to kind of facilitate like those more complex kind of operation. And yeah, just build something indeed that is very much needed, especially by these like large financial enterprises.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I think like was really an honor also like to have not just partner, but you guys are seasoned now, seasoned live streamer in the MetaMask Community Call. So thanks so much, and really hope like we can invite you again to not just speak about specific feature on the MetaMask Edge wallet, but also to highlight these great partnerships that we're building during the past year. So thanks so much, Kevin. Thanks so much, Alessandro, and looking forward to see you next time, IRL or not. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. It was great. Thank you.
So sounds good. Ayush, did you enjoy this fireside chat?
Good things to know. A lot of like insights on the architectural side and what's happening on the X42. So pretty good session, I believe.
Yes. I think like, I definitely like learn more about also what's happening around the X42 world. The seller side was a really good question, I think, and also like the links that we shared about DeFi Composer and the links on I think like the globe book on the session or a bottleneck. I think that's really cool, and the model context protocol. So that's exciting. But I think also like Zen and Marco's session was super interesting. So I think what's next? Let's close it up. I think like one thing that we want to kind of mention in terms of like what is happening next. We have a lot of things that we're working on right now, not just kind of like post general access, but we kept open our Telegram group, very focused on technical trader and builder that are actually like building those specific like workflows. There are like three main focus here, right? So network expansion. Thanks to the early access program, we integrated different layer twos, different chains, and I think like our next obviously like is on Arc testnet. I think the call to action is always the same. Ayush, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have any new layer twos or chain that you are interested for us to integrate and to actually like propose this to our product team, feel free to reach out. I think this QR code send you to the Builder Hub. This is basically
Yes.
like an open forum. You can really like give inputs, criticize. We are super open to every type of like comments around Agent Wallet and even more. So feel free to also like use this QR code and let us know. There is even like an introduct yourself section. So if you're kind of like a fellow or emerging like technical trader, you're interested to build the advanced features and workflows, this is the way. And if you even have already different skills, MCPs that you would like people to use and you want to advocate for it, you can even get invited to those community calls or ad hoc live streams. We're super happy to have you demoed whatever you build in the past weeks. We have also these office hours, MetaMask Agent Wallet office hours. These are happening every week, and we're always like inviting top technical trader, top advanced trader to actually share. And even if you're trading small amounts or you're just a KOL or whale, you want to kind of like start to kind of like understand how automatization and workflow works. This is also like a good way to get started.
I would say
Go for it,
office hours
Rishi.
is just out with the friends. It's
Yes,
just friends
yes.
hanging out, talking about like the Asian wallet, what you can build, what they have built, and sharing like the feature request or any facing an issue. So come join our friend space. We all can be friends and talk about some common interests we have in the agent space.
Yes. And I think the best input that we had was really during those office hours, right? And this is a big also shout out to Justin on behind the scene that he make these office hours happening from like different like use case. People are coming with different kind of like type of like use case, but also like type of technology they want to embed in the trading experience. And I think that's something that we discovered very early, and we're shaping the product the way that really like people are asking. So this feedback loop is very fast. And I think we have also like a phenomenal engineering team that are also like very fast in implementing things. I think like for Robinhood support, we took less than 2 weeks. So that was like crazy if you look from like the office hour ask to actually implementation time.
That is
Okay, I
true.
think second time was the follow trading. Follow trading is coming. I think you're very excited about this, Ayush, right?
Yeah, so basically, I think like one of the like requests in the officers were always like the copy trading. It was one of the like top use cases we saw like people wanted. So we'll have something called as follow trading where you can follow your favorite traders and you get the signals whenever they trade. So based on the signal, you can have your own strategy like what kind of copy you want to do. You want to copy 1 to 1. You want to copy like certain percentage, but yeah, follow trading would be something similar like you getting insights on whatever trades they do as soon as they open the trade. So you can have your agent in the autonomous mode to listen to that like notifications and then basically creating their own trades based on strategy that you choose.
Sounds good. Yes, I agree. And I think on the third one is basically quality of life improvement. I think like this, we kind of like mentioned, I think from the early access program to this like Telegram group today, like we got raised a lot of different like issues. So it's super important also like you raise this to the team, right? Our door are always open. And again, you can check out this QR code. This is just following you to the Builder Hub, where there is also a full section around MetaMask Agent Wallet. You can even introduce yourself. Okay, I think like we're good to go. Anything else that we want to discuss today, Ayush? Any kind of highlight of this session that you enjoyed the most?
I think like I just want to say like agent wallet is just the execution layer that you can use for any kind of interaction, one shot anything. So even if we, whatever we showed, whatever we discussed, if you think like that's not the use case that you see fit, and there is some use case that you wanna explore with agent wallet, feel free to like try it out and try with your favorite agent framework, and hopefully it will be able to one shot. And if it's not able to one shot, do reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to look into it and improve it.
Sounds good. And I'm basically responding here to this question from the chat. The forum is the best way to get builder support, right? Yes, depending on what you do, definitely like is the best way to start. You can also like DM us, and we can also like add you to this specific like kind of agent trader Telegram group, right? But I would say depending on what you want to do, right? Either building specific connection or even like enhancing your trading experience. You obviously, if your volumes are if you're interested also like in bringing also like volumes and trying to kind of like start this journey, and yeah, feel free to reach out. I think what Ayush said, remember like agent wallet is an execution layer, and the fact that it's compatible with every harness out there, it's a powerful value proposition. But I think where the things get interesting is all the overlapping connector, all the overlapping kind of like technology coming together, making a decision from like token discovery to sentiment analysis, and then executing, right, through the agent. And the fact that everything is automatizable, it's also like a big value prop on that. There are just more data points. I think we're good to go. Oh, big shout out here to Jordi here. Big fan, and yeah, thanks so much also for following this. And I think there are not just a lot of builders. I feel like there is enough. There is a big world of people that are not trying to enhance this trading experience, and I feel that's a good timing also like to get started. At what Kevin said before, like we're just getting started. So thanks so much, Ayush, and for everyone behind the scene making this MetaMask community call for August happening. And yeah, we're looking forward for the next months and giving you a lot of like new updates from the team, from the ecosystem, from the partner, and shout out to all the partners that are making everything stellar from our way to the future. So thanks so much.